All right, so we'll go ahead and call this advertised school board meeting into session at this time. And that brings us to the approval of the agenda 2.1. And colleagues, I'm showing no changes to the agenda, so I need a motion.
I'll move it.
Motion by Dr. Kelly. Second by Ms. Gardner. Any discussion? Seeing none, let's vote. All in favor?
Aye.
All right, so we've got an agenda in place now. That brings us to recognitions 3.1. Recognition of the Baker Girls Volleyball Team 2023 1A Florida High Athletic Association State Champions.
Woohoo!
Presented by Superintendent Marcus Chambers. Superintendent.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, School Board. It is an honor to have the Lady Gators here. As you know, we've tried to have this meeting a few times, and I know there's been some circumstances, but you're here tonight. And I think the only person who might be more excited than you are is Ms. Ivanchek. And I just want to start off by saying 21 straight district championships. And you think about that, that is something that's unheard of. That's something I think we've kind of tested the waters. When you look throughout the state of Florida, 21 straight district championships, that's something that does not happen. And then to have a state title. But before we talk about that, I want to say, you know, we're blessed in this county. There was a time when we may have had a state championship or two, but now we're starting to have state championships and state champions. And I always say every time that you come before this board, and it's what was done before the night that you won. And if you just take for a second and think back to this past summer, think back to this time last year, think back to all the practices, all the sweat, all the hard times, maybe some arguing, but in a good way, coming together. You know, those are the type of things that win you a state title. When you're on that night and you win it, it's a byproduct of all the hard work, the dedication, the sweat, the tears that you put in place. And that's why you're state champions. And that's something that we could not be more proud of. But again, 21 straight district championships, which then leads to the state championship. And it's something that we could not be prouder of. And we're going to recognize you tonight. But before we do, there might be a few people to my right that might also have a few words to say.
Well, let's start with Ms. Ivanchek.
Yes.
Woo! We don't want to go all night. I made a mention this morning in the workshop about, of course, all of you ladies are wonderful athletes. You're student athletes. You're also wonderful in the classroom. I look at the honors list of graduating. I look at what you do in the classroom as far as taking advanced classes. So you continue to do that. But the one thing that I brought out this morning when I was speaking about you was telling everyone that what we don't always recognize outwardly is your character. And I was able to see that character when I came to the games, because all of you, I was telling how all of you thanked me for being there, thanked me for supporting you, which of course it was my pleasure, always, along with your coaches, your trainers, everyone, made me feel welcome, that I was a part of the Gator team, and that means so much to me to be able to do that and to follow you along. And I want to say that I wouldn't get up at the hour I did and drive from Fort Walton to Baker to see you guys, ladies, off. I did that morning just for anybody, but it was worth it, and I would do it every day to get this state championship. So I can't even tell you how proud I am. My fellow school board members know that I talk about the Gators and the ladies a lot, almost to the point where they want to boot me out sometimes. But again, please know how proud that I am of you and how much I appreciate you letting me be a Baker Gator. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you. All right, colleagues, you may have something to add. Ms.
Well, I was going to say, I wish you had started with me, because I was so impressed this morning when Ms. Ivanchek started with, you know, those district champions are wonderful and our state champions, but your character is going to take you so far. And again, you heard what Ms. McVancheck said, but I'd also like to thank our parents and the community that supports you, aunts, uncles, anybody, because we know that as athletes, you have the ability, but sometimes you need, well, you definitely need the support around you, the funding, support, and so forth. So again, thank you to all our parents, and the Baker community is amazing, how they embrace Baker School, and we, as a school district, truly appreciate that. So congratulations, ladies.
Awesome.
You make us proud.
Thank you, Ms. Gardner.
I'd just like to add, too, that once upon a time, I played volleyball. I know it's hard to believe now, but I do know the persistence and the dedication it takes for you guys to do everything that you do to represent your school and your community, your parents, your grandparents, all of your relatives so proudly. You make all of us proud. You make your school proud. I know your administration is back there. They're obviously so proud of you as well. And I also have a huge heart for the K-12 schools, because I know it is more like a familiar family feeling, and they do support you all the way through your years there. So congratulations to you. You certainly have my admiration and my respect, and just go all the way. Continue on. Thank you so much.
Very good. Thanks, Doc.
And I'll just echo what my fellow board members have already said. We're very proud of you. I know, having been on campus at Baker for many years, whether it's been mentoring or just coming over and visiting with the school, I always feel that Gator pride. But the character is what really builds the team, in my opinion. And it's not just in volleyball, it's all across the board at Baker. And I know Mr. Martello's back there, and he's proud of all of his students. But, you know, I know after 21 district championships, you know, it was great to finally see the state title come home to Baker where it should be. So congratulations, ladies.
Awesome. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Bryant. And I'll just add, I mean, you've heard us all say how proud we are of all of you. And I can't help, I'm stuck on the 21 thing. Y'all weren't even born yet. 21, that's unbelievable. So again, just congratulations, and we're so proud of all of you. All right, Superintendent.
Thank you, sir. And as Mr. Martello and Coach Medley come forward, if you would, I do want to just share just a couple other things. 14 regional championships, 14. Coach Medley was the district coach of the year. Lily Adams was a District 1 player of the year, FCA All-State and All-Academic. Chloe, FCA All-State and All-Academic, and she signed to play volleyball at St. Leo. She also participated in the All-Star Game. And then we have Haley, who also participated in the All-Star Game and also has signed to play volleyball at Coastal Alabama. And you could have a story about each and every one of these young ladies, but I think maybe Mr. Martello and Coach Medley also might have a few words.
Welcome, Principal.
Thank you so much for recognizing these awesome ladies tonight. And Mr. White, I was but a toddler when this 21 thing started. So
I figured.
no. So last year, to add to those accolades, last year they were the state runner-up.
Yep.
And after the game was over, I had the honor to hand out their awards to them, their medals to them. And there were a few tiers, but in between those tiers, you could see, because we had a younger team last year, lots of underclassmen, and you could see a bit of determination in there as well. And so as I got to shake their hands at the end of that, and I said, well, now you know what it takes to come back next year. And I hope that some of them did. And so this year, as I had the honor and the privilege to hand out the state championship medals to them, I got to go down that same line and just thank each and every one of them for being a Baker Gator. And so they make us proud every day. The hard work that you talked about earlier, you can see it starts early in the summer and continues on throughout the season. So we couldn't be prouder to call this group of ladies Baker Gators.
Yes, awesome.
Yeah.
Thank you, sir.
Pull that down a little bit. All right. I was going to just add another accolade as well. Lily had gotten the player of District 1A as well in our district, but she ended up getting Player of the Year for the entire state in 1A, so that was pretty cool for her. But everything that you guys have said, you know, I can second all that, but one thing I like to say is great teammates make great teams, and that's exactly what we have. And just like Mr. Martello said, that determination was there as soon as we walked off the floor last year. Between Lily and Chloe, for sure, definitely, they said, we're coming back and we're going to exchange this silver for gold. So it was really nice to be able to go and do that. But none of that is possible without the support that we have, like that Miss Gardner talked about. It's just awesome to have it, and first off, we want to thank God for what we were able to go and do and blessing us with those opportunities. And I was just super excited. I was actually a part of number 3, 4, and 5, and then I got to be able to coach in some, and then bring the first state championship back to Baker. So it was pretty cool. So super excited and
Good job.
very, very proud.
Thank
very,
you.
very proud.
No, yeah. So, Principal Richburg, long ago, was named Austin Adams. I wonder if it's the same family.
All right, I'd like to start with Miss Maddie Mills. Next up, Miss Laney Angela. Miss Kaylee Moss. Miss Carson Crinkler. Miss Mackenzie McGraw. Miss Annalise Saunders. Miss Chloe Ates. Miss Kat Price. Miss Lily Adams. Miss Brooke Brunson. Miss Haley Preston. I'd like to call down Mylon McCallum too, to come with us. Yes. It wouldn't go
Ms. Hurley, come on. Ms. Hurley?
Make sure y'all get a space for your face.
You're right there, okay. All right, everybody can see us, right? Can't see you. All right, perfect. Everybody say thank you, I'm sorry. Big smile.
Can we call Coach Carlisle? Coach Carlisle. We want everybody to make great. Come on, Carlisle. Come on, Coach. Sorry. Coach, you were there, man.
You were the best cheerleader. You and the smile. Okay. Sorry. Smile. Hang on, we got that more. Alright, everybody. Thank you.
All right, good job. I tell you what, I'm gonna call a 1-minute recess, because y'all start back to school tomorrow. So if you want to head out, I'll let you go. We'll do a recess for 1 minute. Go ahead and call this meeting back into session, and we have a public hearing. So colleagues, if you'll scroll down on your agenda there on your computer, all the way down to 15.1. And so 15.1 is a public hearing for the adoption of Resolution 24-05, approving the proposed land purchase contract between the School Board of Okaloosa County, Florida, and D.R. Horton for a parcel of real property located at Lovejoy Road and Hill Avenue, Fort Walton Beach, presented by Dr. Bill Smith and recommended by the superintendent for approval. Is there anyone here to speak to this item tonight? All right, colleagues, seeing none, you know what I need. Motion by Ms. Gardner,
I'll second it.
second by Mr. Bryan. Any discussion? All right, there's none, so let's vote. All in favor? Aye. Motion carries 5-0. All right, 15.2, public hearing for the adoption of revised school board policy 08-07, requirements for instructional personnel, presented by Dr. Lee Hale, Assistant Superintendent of Human Resources, and recommended by Superintendent Chambers for approval. Is there anyone here to speak to this item tonight? All right, colleagues, seeing none, I need a motion.
I'll move it.
Motion by Ms. Vancheck,
I'll second.
second by Dr. Kelly. Any discussion? All right, there's none, so let's vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries 5-0. All right, so we'll close the public hearing and we'll scroll back up. And I believe we were at administrative appointments, is that right?
Yes.
Okay, got to get to there. Okay, that's section 4. We have none of those tonight. And that brings us to public comment for agenda items only. This is the blue card version. And this will be members of the public desiring to address the school board regarding agenda items MIS 5241, discussion of agenda items. And I do have one card from Ms. Christina Stratton. And she would like to speak to agenda item 8.8. Please come forward, Ms. Stratton. And you don't have to introduce yourself because I did that for you.
Well, thank you.
Although, lawyer has a few opening remarks, and he'll be the one that will run the timer because you'll have 3 minutes tonight. Mr. McInnes?
Yes, sir. You'll have 3 minutes tonight to speak on this item, and we would ask that when you begin, if you would state your name and address for the record. Remarks and statements should be addressed to the chairman and not to the school board members individually. Concerns discussed should relate to educational issues in our school district. Personal attacks against officers and personnel shall be excluded from your presentation or discussions. Items pertaining to personnel matters under the responsibility of the superintendent are not routinely heard by the school board. Speakers and the public attending our meeting tonight are expected to act in a respectful manner, and we would ask that no person make personal, impertinent, or slanderous remarks or become abusive or disruptive while addressing the board. And you'll have 3 minutes to.
And before you start, I do believe this is item 8.8, and it is a personnel item, okay? So I know that you'll take his remarks in concern, okay?
Okay.
All right, we'll start the clock, Mr. Attorney. Okay.
So I'm Christina Stratton, and I live in Shalimar, and I am addressing the school board and Mr. Chambers. So I stand here before you today to address my concerns regarding the handling and the process of an investigation within the school district, a matter that I have diligently brought to your attention through multiple emails. And throughout this investigation, I have encountered numerous inconsistencies, factual inaccuracies, and significant gaps in information, all of which I outlined in detail in my correspondence. One of the fundamental principles of due process is the right to be fully informed of the allegations against oneself. However, in my case, this crucial aspect was not adhered to, as I only became aware of the exact nature of the allegations upon receiving my investigative report. This deprived me of the opportunity to provide the necessary context during questioning by the investigator, thereby impeding my ability to present a comprehensive and accurate account of events. Furthermore, I must highlight that the investigative report upon which conclusions were drawn was marred by subjective language and speculative assertions rather than being grounded in factual evidence. Phrases such as "in the opinion of" and hypothetical scenarios such as "if I would have" or "if I should have" permeated the report, undermining its objectivity and reliability. A crucial aspect that merits attention is the discrepancy between the policy cited in the report, which was 0809, and the policy I was actually following, which would be School Board Policy 0433. It is essential to note that my actions were in accordance with School Board Policy 0433, which recognizes the authority of law enforcement officials to intervene in situations including battery and ensures the safety of students and staff within our schools. As such, I firmly believe that my actions were justified and any disciplinary action against me would be unwarranted. I expressed these concerns during my appeal process, but I deemed it necessary to reiterate them directly to you as board members. It is my firm belief that reasonable efforts to protect a child, guided by law enforcement protocols, should be recognized and upheld rather than met with punitive measures. In conclusion, I implore the school board to thoroughly review the handling of this investigation, ensuring adherence to a due process, factual accuracy, and objective analysis. Upholding these principles is not only essential for fairness and justice, but also for maintaining the integrity and credibility of our educational institutions. And I would like to thank my family, my friends, and my coworkers for their support throughout this entire process, and I thank you for your attention and consideration in this matter.
All right, thank you, Ms. Stratton. All right, colleagues, that now takes us to Section 6, Committee and Staff Reports. I know that you covered these in the workshop today, 6.1 in-county travel, 6.2 out-of-county travel, and then 6.3 Okaloosa School District financial statements for fiscal year ended by Ms. Perry. And this requires no adoption, and it's only for information, as the agenda says. All right, consent agenda 7.1 will be the approval of the consent agenda. I need a motion.
I'll move it.
That was close. I'll go to Ms. Gardner, makes the motion, and seconded by Dr. Kelly. Is there any discussion? There's none, so let's vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries 5-0. All right, so that brings us down to Section 8. Scroll on down. This will be Superintendent's Human Resources recommendations. And colleagues, certainly you're all familiar with this, and many members in the attendance are familiar with this, but we are a school board that does action, and we do action only when there is a motion made. And so some of these items will require motion so that we can do our action. All right, 8.1 is information only. That's employees on administrative leave. 8.2, information only, deferred retirement option program. But then 8.3 is a request to double fill the assistant principal 2 at Florosa Elementary School, presented by Dr. Hale and recommended by the superintendent. This is an action item, and so I need a motion.
I'll move it.
Motion by Ms. Vancheck.
Second.
Second by Mr. Bryant. Any discussion? Hearing none, let's vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries 5-0. 8.4, employment separations, presented by Dr. Hale and recommended by the superintendent.
I'll move it.
Second.
Motion by Ms. Gardner, second by Mr. Bryant. Any discussion? There's none, so let's vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries 5-0. 8.5, personnel recommendations, presented by Dr. Hale and recommended by the superintendent. Need another motion.
I'll move it.
Motion by Dr. Kelly,
I'll second it.
second by Ms. Vancheck. Any discussion? There's none, so let's vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries 5-0. Excuse me. 8.6, employee transfers, another action item requiring a motion. presented by Dr. Hale and recommended by the superintendent.
I'll move it.
Motion by Ms. Vancheck,
Second.
second by Ms. Gardner. Any discussion? Being none, let's vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries 5-0. 8.7, employee suspension. Again, an action item. We need a motion presented by Dr. Hale and recommended by the superintendent.
So moved.
Motion by Mr. Bryant.
Second.
Second by Ms. Gardner. Any discussion? There being none, let's vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries 5-0. 8.8, employee suspension recommended by Dr. Hale and also by the superintendent for approval. Need a motion? We can't act without a motion.
I'll move it.
Motion by Ms. Vancheck. Here you go. I'll second. Go ahead.
Okay.
So you got a motion by yourself?
Okay, yes, all right. Got
Second
a
by
motion by me
Lamar
and a
White.
second by Dr. White. All in favor?
Let's ask for discussion first.
Oh, I'm sorry. Any
Any
discussion
discussion?
on this item? Okay, let's go for a vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, thank you.
Motion carries 5-0. Thank you. 8.9, employee suspension, presented by Dr. Hale and recommended by the superintendent. Need a motion.
So moved.
Motion by Mr. Bryant,
Second.
second by Ms. Gardner. Any discussion? There's none, so let's vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries 5-0. 8.10, employee suspension, presented by Dr. Hale and recommended by the superintendent. Need a motion.
I'll move it.
Motion by Ms. Vancheck,
Second.
second by Ms. Gardner. Any discussion? Hearing none, let's vote. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Motion carries 5-0. 8.11, employee suspension, presented by Dr. Hale and recommended by the superintendent. Need a motion.
So moved.
Motion by Mr. Bryant,
A second.
second by Dr. Kelly. Any discussion? There's none, so let's vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries 5-0.
Could I make a, I know it's kind of irregular, can I make a statement,
Well,
please?
there's no motion on the table, but I guess, ma'am, I can make an exception. Go ahead.
Okay, thank you. I just want to make a general comment to our audience about the last few items about employee suspension. It is very difficult, as you saw, for this board to suspend employees, but we have to look at the factual information and the information that we are given to make this decision. It's not an easy decision. 4 of the 5 of us have been employees, so I just want the public and those in the audience to know that it's a challenge, but we do have to do what we have been sworn in to do, and to follow the laws and the rules and the policies of this district. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Vancheck. And I think to add a couple of things, we know from experience that often these matters are not just resolved in this particular situation. And so they're often continued in various venues, and we understand that. And that's why often we don't make comment, and we don't follow through with anything like that, because those are all things that will potentially be revisited in a different venue. And so that's why that you may have seen some action, but you didn't hear any comment, and that's because many of us have been here before. All right? The other thing I would say is that Florida law gives broad powers to the superintendent of schools in terms of personnel. And Mr. McInnes, you could explain that at length perhaps sometime. I know you have before at different board meetings, but the superintendent of schools is in charge of personnel in Florida. Okay? All right, so that brings us now to 8.12, reinstatement reimbursement of sick leave due to line of duty illness, recommended by Dr. Hale and Superintendent Chambers.
I'll move it.
Motion by Ms. Vancheck,
I'll second.
second by Dr. Kelly. Any discussion? No, there's no discussion, so let's vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries 5-0. 8.13, leave without pay, presented by Dr. Hale and recommended by the superintendent.
I'll move it.
Thank you.
Second.
Motion by Ms. Gardner, second by Mr. Bryant. Any discussion? There's none, so let's vote. All in favor? Aye. Motion carries 5-0. All right, so no items were moved to discussion. That takes us to Section 10, Construction Program Owners Representatives Business. That would be Program Status Report. And Dr. Kelly, do you have anything for us tonight?
I don't have anything additional tonight, but look forward to a vigorous report next time.
All right, so you must have another meeting coming up then. Okay, understand. All right, 10.2 is also an action item. TPM Program Number 6, Task Order Number 35, Scope Mod Number 1, Pre-GMP for 12th grade, 12th classroom addition at Baker School, presented by Dr. Smith and recommended by the superintendent. So I
I'll
need a
move it.
motion. Motion by Ms. Van Check.
Second.
Second by Mr. Bryant. Any discussion?
Just real quick,
Yeah.
some great news for Baker School.
Yep.
Looks like we'll be getting rid of the portables.
Well, yep, getting out of the portable business, that's right.
Been there, done that before, so that's good. All
Yes.
right. So we've got a motion and a second on the table, so we need to see if there's any discussion. There's no discussion, so let's vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries 5-0. Mr. Attorney, you have some business tonight, I believe.
One item, Mr. Chairman, we have a request from an employee for a hearing in regard to a disciplinary matter. This is employee number 105260. We'd recommend this matter be referred to the Division of Administrative Hearings to conduct that proceeding.
And so that's another one of those venues.
Yes, sir.
That I was speaking about earlier regarding an employee matter. Okay, so colleagues, you understand what the request is?
Yes.
So
Go to
moved.
DOA.
So moved, Mr. Chairman.
Motion by Mr. Bryant.
I'll second.
Second by Dr. Kelly. Any discussion? There's none, so let's vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries 5-0. All right, so that takes us down to the superintendent. I know you had some stuff this morning. Anything tonight you'd like to add, or?
No, we provided information this morning and no further information tonight. I appreciate it.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. You're good. Thank you. All right, colleagues, so we got board members' announcements and any requests for information. So, Ms. Gardner, I'll start with you, ma'am.
I
Okay.
said everything this morning.
Yes, ma'am. Ms. Van Jay?
No, I've had my show for the evening, thank you, and it was good. Thank you so much.
Okay, Mr. Bryant?
I made my comments this morning.
Okay,
Thank you, sir.
very good. And how about Dr. Kelly?
And just a reminder that if you want tickets for Niceville High School's Newsies show, those tickets are on sale now and they go fast, so be sure and get your tickets. And then I did have one request from the attorney. We had discussion a while back, a few meetings back, about a policy on artificial intelligence, and I know you were going to a conference where you potentially could get information from the other attorneys who may already have that policy. Do we have any news on that front?
I have gotten several samples of those,
Great.
provided those to our information department, and also the curriculum department is working on that same matter.
Super. I'm
Yeah.
excited about that. Thank you so much.
Yeah, so Ms. Lightborn is in essence leading that up. So we've discussed the AI policy and impact to school district, both on the employee side and the student side, and we will have something forthcoming this summer.
Super. I'm excited about that. Thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
Well, that'll be interesting. Uh-huh. Okay, and I really don't have anything other than what I already joked with the Baker girls about school starting back tomorrow, and hope everybody has a great start back and great rest of the year. All right, so that takes us down. We've done our public hearings. Is there any other business, colleagues, that we neglected to point? Oh, we got a yellow card?
Yeah.
Okay. Didn't know that.
14.1.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, let's go back up to 14.1. Okay, public comment, and this is Coach, is it Coach Torres? All right, do you want to come forward? And so, Coach Torres, you want to speak about Future Stars, is that sports clinic that you wrote? Yes, sir. And Mr. McInnes, this is the 2 minutes, so you want to give them some format here?
Yes, sir. If you could please state your name and address when you begin. You'll have 2 minutes to make your presentation, and you heard me read the rules of presentations earlier, and those would all still apply to you, okay? Thank you.
All right, sir, go ahead.
All right, good evening, respected board members, board of the Okaloosa County School Board, dedicated educators, and valued community members. I'm Coach Chris Torres, and I am the founder and CEO of Future Star Sports Clinic. If you haven't heard of Future Star Sports Clinic, I'm here to introduce Future Star Sports Clinic to you. It's a cornerstone initiative in our community since 2017, designed with a vision to empower our youth through sports completely free of charge. Our aim is to use sport as a transformative tool, molding leaders of tomorrow and teaching our 5 pillars of success: practice, teamwork, focus, discipline, and respect. In a world where opportunity are often gated by financial barriers, Future Star Sports Clinic stands out by ensuring every child, regardless of their background, has a chance to participate, grow, and excel in their chosen sport. And we do that by having this program 100% free. So with that being said, you know, these kids, just like the Lady Gators that we just had, okay? So however, to continue our mission, we need something from the Okaloosa County School Board. We need you guys to be able to, the assistance we need is spreading the word, ensuring that every potential future star knows about this opportunity, your endorsement, and an invaluable credibility to support our mission. We need student athletes as volunteers and get those coaches as well with those athletic directors. We envision a partnership with the Okaloosa County School Board, and with that partnership allows us to keep impacting these kids and create these leaders of tomorrow. But we're just using sport as a vehicle to do that. We've already done it over the past 7 years, and we want to continue doing it, but we want to do it with Okaloosa County in mind, and it's not only going to be here. This program is going to grow into other cities, other states, but we can only do that with us grabbing hands together and becoming a community. So that's why I'm here, that's why we're talking about it, and we've always heard it takes a village. So let's go ahead and make these leaders the leaders they need to be. Thank you.
May I ask?
Thank you, Mr. Torres. Okay.
Dr. White? No, I was just wondering, you're
Well,
talking.
you got that off? Maybe just gonna interrupt you. Okay, I think it's off. All right, go ahead, Ms. Darden.
You mentioned it's a Sports Clinic. Exactly what sports are you?
So, like I said, we teach our 5 pillars of success, which are practice, teamwork, focus, discipline, and respect. We started with football back in 2017. We just incepted baseball and soccer in October. We got our football clinic coming up this March 30th. We plan on doing basketball this July, and then we have a 5th sport that we're gonna do. But what we need is, we're actually doing a campaign right now to have the community choose that 5th sport.
Okay.
Because again, it takes a community. So if that answers your question.
It does, and thank you for being here tonight.
No problem. And I do have something, if you don't mind. I'd like to present the chairman with a coin.
Okay.
And thank you guys for the opportunity for me speaking today.
Could I ask what age groups?
Ages 6 to 13, that's all the kids, it's free, but then if they're past 13, that's where those student athletes come into involved. They need those volunteer hours for college, right? Why not do something that's gonna be fun? And not to mention, we have professional athletes at every clinic.
Please approach, come on up.
And Dr. White, as he approaches, so they filled out a vendor request form, as you should do, and so that has been approved. And if you have any questions beyond that, Mr. Horton's over here in terms of next steps, but that vendor request has been approved.
All right, very good, thank you, sir.
Okay,
All right, thank you, Mr. Torres. Appreciate it, man. Cool.
Have a great evening.
All right.
thank you.
Thank you.
All right, now, any more yellow cards, or was that the only one? Okay, all right, so that takes us through the yellow cards, and we're at the point of asking any other business colleagues, are you all good? Okay, Superintendent, you good?
Yes, sir.
Mr. Attorney? Yes, sir. Okay, staff, anything? This meeting's adjourned. Okay, well, have a good trip. Take your vitamin C, take a lot of vitamin C.